them all, obviously. But I've met some of the ones that you dated more than once. I don't even know if you can count
that high, honey. So, yeah, you haven't met them all because there's too many to know. But I was in, like, a few, like, LTRs, like, long-term relationships, you know? But in between that, I remember last time I said I had impulse controls.
Yeah,
well,
you did mention that.
All my impulse controls are broken. And, I was a little promiscuous. Just a little bit.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And,
well, you know, my standard joke is that I've been with the same amount of men as Disney has Dalmatians, so...
Oh my god. Hello, police?
Hello, police.
Beep, 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 beep.
So promiscuous, I understand.
Sure.
Whore.
Right. That's a good word.
I own it as a little badge of courage. Whore.
Right? But a lot of my stories are just, like, a little intense. But I lived in San Francisco for a while, and I went to college. I was 19. But I was, you know, I've mentioned once or twice that I'm quite tall. And I hung out with upperclassmen, because why not? And so I got into bars a lot. But there was this one time that I met, with my group of friends, rando dude, who I was like, oh my god, he's literally so cute. And they're all like, uh-huh. And everyone's just wasted. Everyone's like, oh my god, he is the cutest person I've literally always seen. And I'm like, girl, we're gonna go get married. And, like, we spent all night dancing in this club. Mind you, this club was called The Cellar because you guessed it was underground.
Sure, that makes sense.
It was very sketchy. And again, I was 19. But, so we danced, like, all night. It was all that. And, I remember we exchanged phone numbers. But then, he lived around the same area. It's San Francisco, right? So, like, he didn't live very far. But I saw him everywhere. And we never went on, an official date. But this man was Creeposaurus Rex. I lived in an apartment where you had to, like, buzz people in, right? They'd be like, ding dong, I'm here. And I'd be all, okay, come in. Bzz. But one day, someone knocked on my door and I was all, huh? Because I lived on, like, the 5th floor. Open the door. And, it's him. And I'm like, what? And I'm home alone. And I'm like, okay, yeah, come on in, right? 19-year-old me, just like, oh, it's just cute guy from the club. We're dating, and, like, that's not true. And he was, like, very charming, but then he was, my friends finally showed up, and everyone was intoxicated, because, like, you know what, we all went to school for, we majored in inebriation, clearly, because everyone was just constantly
which is why you got a 4-point.
Yes, honey. But my friends were there, and this guy was like, oh, I want to go to these bars. My friend is coming to get me. You should come. And I was like, yeah, totally. Again, I'm 19 years old. No bar is going to let me in other than the ones that I know that I can get into, right? And so, and his friend comes and, like, meets us, like, outside my house, and we're walking back to the car. And everything was super sketchy. Like, they just were, like, arguing the whole time, and it felt very staged. And I was just like, this is fine. This seems regular. It doesn't seem like acting to me at all. Again, I was a child, and I was inebriated. So I get in the backseat of this car, and they decide to drive across town. And we go to this club that they're like, oh, we're gonna get in, there's this party. And they won't let me in, obviously, and the party's over. Okay, so this was never happening. And they decided to go to another part of town, the Mission District, and think I'm going to get into this club. And mind you, it's like almost 2 a.m. I'm like, last call is happening. So then they're like, oh, well, we can just drive back to our place. No, honey, because they lived in the East Bay, like in Berkeley. And I was like, no. But then the guy the driver, his friend got insane. Started to yell and said, like, nothing is happening how we said it was going to happen. And started to get really uncomfortable. And then that's when it clicked for me that, like, maybe I was in danger. And so
Molly, you in danger, girl.
Right. I remember I texted my best friend Sebastian, who was at my apartment with all of our friends. And I was like, girl, I should have stayed home. And he was like, come home, like, I'll call a cab for you. And I was like, I'm close, like, I'm outside somewhere. But again, I was inebriated.
I'm outside somewhere. I'm in the outside.
Girl, there's a city around me. And so I decided to start hoofing it, and Sebastian meets me, and that guy, because his friend took off. His friend was like, get out of my car, I'm leaving, after he yelled at us, and I was like, why is he yelling at me? Like, I didn't even do anything wrong this time. And Sebastian met us, but this guy came with us. I was like, what are you going to do? Sleep outside? Because I'm such a good person. I was like, you can't sleep outside. That's not good. Sleep in my apartment. So again, and I always just say, like, the only reason I did it is because everyone was over. I had like 6 friends over. No, bitch, I was just stupid. And I was like, yeah, you can sleep in my roommate's room. It's totally fun. So he slept over, and I was like, I'll be in there in a while. I'm just really excited to see my friends. And then he passed out, girl, and I slept in my bed. And the next morning, he was gone. And that was the last I saw of him. And that was just a very uncomfortable experience for me in San Francisco. But San Francisco, let me tell you what, a lot of stories that I have from living there and going on dates or hanging out with men are a little sketchy. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
But young and dumb, and I was like, I'm invincible. I'm sorry, this cute boy wants to hang out. He's killed a couple people. Oh, whatever. Like,
he's cute.
He's like literally so cute. Like, yeah. I was smart.
When I was, I must have been in my early 20s, I guess.
Okay.
I'm guessing maybe late teens, early 20s. I think early 20s.
Okay.
I tried what was the equivalent then of online dating, which was personal ads,
right?
And it was just I don't think I took one out. Maybe I did. I don't remember. Whatever. Who cares?
Right.
But one of the guys that I met, again, zero self-esteem. So kids, if you're listening, never settle for any nonsense. But anyway,
we should have said in the beginning: parental advisory. These stories are not for the faint of heart or children.
But don't settle. Anyway, this guy I met, he was much older than me. I think he was at least double my age, if not older. He had grown children.
I hate that.
And I was a grown child, basically. So,
Are all adults?
Yeah, but I was barely past childhood.
Philosophy.
Anyway, and so we started seeing each other.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it should have been a red flag to me that he was very limited where and when he could see me. But I didn't know those red flags then.
Right.
Young and dumb.
Gotcha.
But it should have been another red flag that he would never let me touch his hair. Now, I will not let anybody touch my hair because, girl, my hair is coiffed.
I'm sorry.
And it's like a helmet. And if you touch my hair, you're going to break your fingers. And I'm going to break your fingers because you're going to mess up my hair. But it turns out that he wouldn't let me touch his hair because he wore a toque.
Oh,
and I was like, what? And it took me a while to figure it out.
Mama, what's a toque? This man said he got a toque. What is it?
But when it finally kind of clicked for me that something fishy was going on with this guy, I was like...
Was his toupee made of fish?
Huh?
His toupee was made of fish?
His toupee may have been made of fish.
I'm leaving.
Fish net.
He was just a walrus.
No,
girl. He was just a walrus with fish on his head.
He wore the fish net of
a
lunch lady.
It's regular.
I asked him, I was like, so it seems like you can only see me. You can only see me at this time, at this whatever, in my apartment, blah, blah, blah. Are you married?
Ooh.
Silence.
Never.
Well, if you're not married, you're going to be like, no, of course I'm not married. Don't be silly.
Yeah.
Silence. I'm going to take that silence as a yes, that you are married.
Yep.
And back then, I had a much clearer kind of idea of morals.
Sure. You did?
Yes.
Oh.
They have flip-flopped and shifted a lot since then. But I was all, girl, you gotta go. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Girl, I gotta go, girl. Yeah, that was awful.
you gotta go bye-bye now. I mean, later when I tried it again, the dating of people from a personal ad.
Sure.
It was actually my personal ad. Mm-hmm. And I thought I would try something new. And that was to date a bunch of people and sleep with none of them.
Oh my god. You were so strong.
I was.
That's
because
bravery.
Some of them were soups cute. Some of them were totes trolls, but some of them were soups cute. But I was like, I want to see how it will be different.
Okay.
If I just date them.
Weird.
Like have them take me out and buy me a meal.
I don't get that.
Or take me to a movie. And, oh my god, one of the guys...
In the olden days.
One of the guys was so super duper fine. Mm-hmm. He was a rancher. Mm-hmm. and he was just all muscly and cute and whatever.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
My dad. No, I'm just kidding.
No, he said he was fine.
Yeah, I know.
And not related to me. So
I was
that's
making
important.
believe.
Gross.
God.
Gross. Okay. But
Stupid bitch.
what was interesting is because I didn't sleep with any of them,
Uh-huh.
all of them seemed more interested. Like, we
Right.
should have a second date or a third
probably
date.
not.
And I'm all, no thanks.
Mm-hmm.
But, because, if I slept with them on the first date like I
Yeah.
normally did,
Yeah.
it was like, ooh, what?
Mm-hmm.
They were gone. Gone with the wind. There was this one guy, I totally didn't even think about this. So one night I was out with my friends.
Yeah.
And we're driving. I lived out in BFE.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all dressed up because we had done the show. So I have this long, very realistic looking blonde wig on.
Sure.
No, it couldn't have looked any more fake.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose unless it was tinsel, but
Right.
I mean, it was cheap. Well, I was young and poor and didn't know any better, but I thought it was cute. This big long wig. Anyway, driving down the road, and this guy's like honking and waving and whatever, and I'm all roll down my window. Yes, can I help you? And he's all, you're fine. I know.
Girl, look at my hair. I know.
Girl, look at my long blonde hair. Of course I'm fine.
Uh-huh.
It's natural too.
It's natural. Okay, my noggin.
Long story short, I ended up hopping out of the car I was in and getting into his car because I made only safe, wise choices. Right?
Same.
And
Totally.
fast forward to the next morning, I still am wearing said blonde hair and all. Some of the makeup is still on. So
Ew.
before he woke up, I ran downstairs, fixed my face,
Yeah.
fixed my hair, crawled back in bed like, what? I wake up like this.
Oh my god.
Well, then he is like, okay, I gotta go to work, blah, blah, blah. Can I have your phone number? And I'm like, no. And he was like, what? And they go, no. I said, you're never gonna call me.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I'm not mad about it. We had a good time. It was lovely.
Right.
But let's not pretend there's something in. And
Once
he's
again.
like, no, I really want your phone. I swear to God, had I said yes and just given it to him, that would have been. But because I said no, it became a challenge, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And so it was all, no, I must have your phone number. You could be the love of my life, or some such bullshit.
Oh my god.
So finally I was like, oh my God, fine. I know you're never going to call me.
Call me at this nunnery.
Right. I'm going right into the nunnery right after this. Bitch, I gave that man my number. He never called me. I was like, motherfucker, why did you beg for my freaking phone number?
Why did you
Because
bend?
it became a challenge. Why did I bend?
Yeah.
I don't think I think I did just to get him out of my house.
Yeah, just like, get the fuck out.
It's like, get out. Why are you still here?
I know, because if you wouldn't have, he would have just shown up at your house.
Probably.
Which is scarier.
Probably.
Girl, that's danger.
Oh, girl. And on that note, we're going to take a little break. And so we are back.
Sure. Alright, well, I don't even know what to tell you. I can tell you that this. Let me tell you a little montage of a horror story called My Relationship when I lived in Los Angeles. Because I was with the same
Oh, right.
human being for the most of the time that I was in LA. And girl, let me tell you, I was like blinded. I just thought like, oh my god, he is the one. This is gonna work out. He's just so cute and he's educated and good. He was okay. So I was 21. We're just gonna go chronologically with my stories. I was 21 and he was a decade older than me, right? So, and he was a former Marine and he had already got his bachelor's degree and he was in grad school. He had his own house and I thought, cha-ching, you know what I mean? I thought, bitch, ding, 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 I win. But I didn't. It was all like red herrings. It was all just like lies, right? Smoke and mirrors. And I should have known just from the first day. The first day we decided to go to like the Formosa Cafe, which is in West Hollywood in California, in Los Angeles. And it's like a cute old cafe that's been around forever, and like old, like classic movie stars used to go there. There's like pictures of like Marilyn Monroe and whatever. So it's very cute, very, it's a theme, it's a night, it's a vibe. But the first night that we decided to go on a date, and I lived in Hollywood, he like, picked me up, and then we went to this bar, and he didn't have any money. And I was like,
wait,
girl,
what?
Right. And so he goes to an ATM, and he's like, oh, you can't take any money out. And like, I'm a good person, we're already here, so I did it, right? But I was also like, again, young and dumb and whatever, but I was like, dreamy. What a dream you are.